Video. In this video we will talk about the hash data structure in the Ruby. So before starting, if you have now subscribed my channel, please subscribe. So let's start. So in Ruby, a hash is a data structure which stores the data in the key value pair. So it's actually similar to the array, but the data is stored and accessed with the keys instead of the indexes. So in the array, you know that we can access the elements and change or remove the elements by using the indexes, but in the hashes we can access and update the elements by using the keys. For example, suppose we have this hash, we can define the hash by using these curly braces, and in these curly braces we can define each element with the key value pair. For example, the first element is name is Alex, right? This is the first element with this is the key and this is the value. It's same like array. And then the second element we have the suppose age, like 30, right? So this is the hash with the two elements. First is the name key and the Alex value, and the second is the age key and the 30 value, right? So we can, if I hit enter, so it returns the hash, and then we can access the elements in the hash by using the keys. So here we have the two keys, the name and the age. So for example, we can access the name value by using this key. So the value for this name key is Alex, so it returns the Alex, right? In the same way we can access this age as well, so it returns the 30. Right? We can also define the hash by using the keys of the string type. For example, if we have this hash and the key is, for example, name, but we can use Alex, and then age we will have 30, right? So now the keys are of type string. Then we can access the elements by using the string keys. So you can see that when we define the keys of string, then we have to use the string keys to access the elements. So we can't use the symbol keys, right? It will return nil because this name key is not present in this array. The name key of type symbol, but here we have the name key of type string. So that is the difference that we should keep in the mind while defining the array. So it is the best practice to define the keys in this symbol with the symbols. So this is the new method, and this is the old method to use these arrows, right? Okay, so let's define a new hash. For example, if I have this name Alex, and then age is 30, and then we have this address key, and the address key is another hash. The values can be of any type, the values of the key. For example, here the value is of type string, this value is of type integer, and then we can define another, the value can be of type arrays or the string as well, of the hash as well. So for example, in the address we have the city, For example, city is city and state is state, right? Then we can have the country is the country. So I'm using then in dummy data, but you can use it according to your need. So you can see that the name, this is the first key, this is the second key value, and this is the third key value. And the third key we have this, the value is of the another hash. So for example, if I want to access the age, I can write h of age. In the same way, if I write address, it will return another hash. So it returns another hash, and then in the other hash we can use another index another index with the key of type city. It returns that value, right? So this is the nested hash, right? A hash in another hash. In the same way, we can access the country, it will return the country. Okay, so suppose if I write any key that is not present in this hash, then it will return the nil. For example, if I write phone, so the phone key is not present in this hash, so it returns the nil. And then if I write country, so it returns the nil. So why it returns nil? So because the country is not present in this array, in this hash, but country is present in the nested hash, right? So before that we have to get this, we have to reach till this hash, and then we can access the country. We can go to this hash by using the address, and then we can use this country, right? We can't directly use this country key directly because the country is present in the nested hash. Okay, so in this way we can access the elements of the hash and then the nested hash as well. Okay, so we can also define the hash by the default value. For example, suppose we have this hash. If we check the class of this, if I use class, so you can see that the class of this h object is of hash. We can define another hash by using the hash class as well. For example, h1 is equal to hash dot new, so it returns this empty hash. It defines a new hash with the empty. So h1 is now empty. In the same way, we can define the hash with the default value. For example, that we can use this you can use any value, but suppose if I write does not exist, right? And then we can check if this hash has any default value or not by using hash dot default. So you can see that the default value does not exist, right? In the same way, we can use this curly braces directly to define the hash. So these are the different methods that we can use to define the hash. For example, in the same way, if I write h1 of name, so because the name is not present in this hash, so it returns the default value. So in this case, the default value is beneficial when we want to access any key that is not present in this in the hash, then it returns the default value, right? In the same way we can write any, so this is also not present, it returns the default value does not exist. So we can by using the default value we understand that that this key is not present, because if we don't provide the default value, then it will return the nil, and then we can't make sure that the nil is actually the value of for that key or not. For example, if I write here h2 is, for example, name is nil, right? And then if I write name, so it returns nil. So here we can't understand that the name is actually key is present or not in this array. But if we write address, so address is not present, this key is not present in this hash, so it should return this default value. Sorry, it is present in this h1 hash, right? So in this way we can make sure that any key is present or not. So but there are some other built-in methods that we can use that checks that returns the key and the values itself. So let's see some of the useful methods that we can use on the hash object. Okay, so let's define a new hash. And then we can add the keys and the values in the hash by using the key value and equal to the value that we want to use. So here we are setting this adding the name key in this hash, and the value for this key is the lx. For it's the same like the arrays. There we use this the index, and then we can assign the value. So if we check here, so the name is added in the hash, right? In the same way we can remove the key value by using h.hash.delete, and then we can pass the key that we want to remove. So the key, this is now it returns the value for that key, and it removes that key value pair. For example, h is now empty. This hash is now empty because the name is now deleted. So if we use h.delete again, because h is now empty, it returns nil. It means that this key that you want to delete is not present in this hash. Okay. We can also check that if any hash has any specific key or not. For example, this hash we have the name alex age 30. Then we can check that hash dot key. So you know that this method ends with this question mark. It should return true or false. So here we can pass the name of the key, the name, so it returns true because this name key is present in this hash. And then if we check address, so address is not present in this hash, it returns the false. Okay, so as we have already checked that we can access the elements from the hash by using the key. So but there is one more method that we can use to get the value from the hash by using the fetch method. For example, we have this hash, and then we can use hash dot fetch, and then we can pass here the name of the key that we want to fetch, so it returns the value for that key, right? So suppose if any key is not present, so it will throw an error, right? But when we use the other method h of this square brackets, it returns the nil. So that's the difference between the fetch and by using this way, the fetch method, if it did not found the key in the hash, it will throw an error, right? We can also pass the default value. For example, key does not exist, so we can pass the default value in the fetch method. If this key is not present, then it will return this value, then it will not throw an error. So you can see that address is not present in this hash, so instead of throwing an error, it returns this message, yeah, that we defined here. So this is the fetch method. And then we can also get all the keys from the hash by using the keys method. For example, we have this name key and the age key. So if we write h dot keys, it will return the array of all the keys. This is the first key and this is the second key, right? In the same way, like the value keys, we can get the values, h dot values. This will return all the values in the array, right? Okay, so suppose we have this hash and we want to update the value of the any key, right? For example, we want to update the name, then we can write this h and the square brackets, this the name, the key that we want to replace the value, for which we want to replace the value, and then we can assign the new value. For example, if I write Rob, and then we can check the array, the hash, the value is now updated, right? In this way we can update the any value in the hash. Okay, suppose we have this hash and we want to remove all the key value pairs, and for example we want to make it empty, we can use h dot clear. So the hash is now clear, all the values and keys and values are now removed, right? Okay, so let's define the array, the hash again. And suppose we want to convert this hash into an array, and in the array the first element will be another array with these two elements, and the second element will be another array with these two elements. Then we can use directly h dot to a, right? It returns the nested array. The first element is another array where the first value is name and the second is the key and the second is the value. So we can get the first h dot to a, it converts it to the array, and then we can access the 0. It returns this the nested array, and in the nested array we can access this because this is array, we can use the indexes. So we can use this one, it will return the ls value, right? So it returns h dot to a, it returns the nested array, the 2D array, right? Okay, so suppose we have the two hashes. For example, h is name, let's define a new hash. Name is Alex, and then we have this h1 is equal to age, right? Then we can merge these two hashes by using the merge method, h dot merge, and then we can pass another hash. So it returns the new hash and merge all the keys and values. So suppose if we have the two same keys in the both hashes, for example, suppose we have h1 is this and h is this. Suppose we add the name to the h1 hash. Okay, so we have this hash with the name and alex, and we have this h1. There we have the name and age. Here we have the name as well, right? So if we merge again, then when we have the two keys with the same name, then it overrides. It will replace it will take the priority of these h1 keys, right? Because we are merging this into h. Then the name should replace with this rob, because name and are same in the h and h1. So you can see that when we merge these two hashes, the value is replaced by the rob, right? So the original value of h is not changed, but we can also use this bang sign to change the original the value of original hash as well. So now the value of h is now changed as well. Okay. Okay, let's say how we can iterate over the hash like the arrays. For example, we have this person hash. Here we have the name Alex, age is 40, and like weight is 100, right? And then we can iterate over this array by using the each method, and the each method, it will give us the key and the value. It will iterate over this the same as array. It will first iterate over this element, and then this element, and then this element, right? And when it iterates over this each element, it will assign this key to the key value to this key variable, and the value to this value. We can use any key and name as well, right? And here we have to use this do block, and then we can write here puts key is equal to k and value is equal to v. So you can see that the key is name and the value is Alex, key is age and the value is 40, key is weight and the value is 100. And you know that each method returns the original array or the hash on which it is being called, right? So it returns the original hash, right? We can also filter or select the elements from the hash by using select method, and it takes the block here the same as the each k and value, and we suppose we want to select only the name, right, and reject all the other key value pairs. So it will when this block will be executed, if it returns true, then that key value pair will be selected, and otherwise they will be rejected. And we can see that we have this name. K is when it iterates over this hash, the first K will be the name, and the K is equal to the name. It will return true because the first key is the name. When it goes to the second, the age, it compares this one, age is equal to name, it will return false. This will be rejected, and then the weight is also not equal to name, and the name weight will also be rejected. So if I hit enter, so you can see that it returns only the name, right? In the same way, we can return we can select the multiple keys as well. For example, if I write here, if K is equal to name or K is equal to age, no, it will select the name and the age key values, right? It rejects the weight because it did not meet this condition, right? Okay, we can pass the hash as the params to the method as well. For example, suppose we have this method greeting, and then we have in the greeting we have the name and the options. We can pass the hash as a default parameter, right? Okay, so in the method we can write if options dot empty, right? If the array, if this hash is empty, then we can write puts hi, my name is the name, else puts my name is name and I live in options of city. Where have you made a mistake? Okay, yeah, so we have defined this method, and then we can call this greeting. We can pass this we can call this greeting method, and then we can pass the name Alex. Suppose when we pass this only the name and we don't pass the hash, the nested parameter, right? And then you can see that it executes this hi, my name is Alex. But when we pass the city is like Oklahoma, then it executes the other, my name is Alex and I live in Oklahoma, right? In this way you can pass the hash as a default parameter to the method as well, right? So that's all about the hash in the Ruby. I hope you have learned something new. I have already added the link in the description. If you want to learn or read in detail, you can check that out. I will see you in the next video.